can you help answer other questions? There are so many questions. Yeah. So I don't know, for Charles Robbins' question, Alex already answered or not yet. I was wondering whether there is active tracking for Suzuki incursions, and is it enough?
I think that was the one we just answered. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So next question is Elizabeth Feng. She asked, do you think your techniques would work for older and drier flies since some traps are emptied monthly? Oh, Alex, come back.
Yeah, sorry, my internet just dropped out.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so do you want to, we were just talking about older samples and whether they work with this as well, Alex?
Yeah, I can repeat the question first. So the question from Elizabeth Feng is, do you think your technique would work for older and drier flies since some traps are emptied monthly?
I think for drier, like for older and drier flies, yeah, it would. The issue is normally if they get wet in the traps, because if they get wet in the traps, the DNA can degrade quite quickly. If they're quite dry, like I've used this technique on specimens of beetles that were they were stored dry for a year, and it worked. But yeah, it's the danger is like if the traps get wet, the DNA quality degrades really quickly.
Okay, thanks. And our next question is from Kate. Is anyone developing field assays for detection and diagnostics in the field?
So Mark Blackett's been doing a bit of that, developing LAMP assays for spotted wing. Did you want to take that one, Mark?
Yeah, the LAMP assays is one thing. I'm not sure if they're also asking about the nanopore stuff as well, because that could be sort of more in field, simpler sort of technology too. But yeah, the LAMP assays are definitely for the field. They can be run on these little portable machines that are smaller than your laptop. You could run it out of the back of a car and do the testing in field. So they're great, but they're really specific to particular targets. So you're looking for a particular pest or a disease, whereas the metabarcoding you can apply to its broad scale. So the methods could be for a whole sort of insect traps that have a whole lot of different things in them, which is the sort of thing Alex was talking about.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, we also have a question from David Britton. His question is, either Mark or Alex, is the extraction method that Beth was going to talk about the one that you have been using?
So do you want me to take that one, Alex?
Yeah, go for it.
So Alex was using, well, you say what you were using first, and I can talk about Beth's.
Yeah, so I was using basically the QIAGEN blood and tissue kits, which I kind of modified to be a non-destructive. I found it worked really well, like especially having the column cleanup was really good for keeping the DNA quality good, but it came out really expensive. Like they're expensive kits, especially the part where you need to soak the insects in it's like the proteinase K. The proteinase K to like fill these traps up with just, yeah, it costs a lot of money. And that's, I think, why we followed this up with Beth's.
Yeah. So so the follow-up for that was for the fruit fly project, we were looking at cheaper sort of homemade buffers that could do the same thing without this proteinase K. So we tried a couple of different ones and different conditions, and the hotshot buffer, which is a alkaline buffer, that seems to work really well on these bulk samples. And you can also run the lysates from that through the spin columns to get really clean DNA as well if you need that. So it's a way to deal with samples that instead of just fitting into an Eppendorf tube, they might fill an ice cream container, that sort of thing.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I didn't see any other question. And one more question from Kate Sparks. Just wondering if you have you tried the LAMP assay published by Kim?
So this is directed at me. There's the spotted wing Drosophila LAMP assay. Yep. So
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've used that. That one seems to work fine. I think from memory, I don't know if my memory's right. There's another one just published recently as well, an alternative one, which I haven't tried. But the Kim one works.
And another question from Elizabeth Fong. How non-destructive is the hot shot buffer? Do you use all body or just a body part?
Yeah, so it's not, there's no processing of the specimens. They come in as dry insects, and then we add the buffer to the dry insects. We don't pull off legs or anything like that. They go through an incubation, so we use a water bath. And then after that short incubation, you take the DNA off, and that's extracted. So it's quite very simple process, and you can wash all the buffer off the specimens afterwards and put them back into ethanol, for example, or dry them in an oven to get them back. And if the incubation is relatively short, the morphology seems to be pretty intact as well. So we're not sure about long term, like how they'll look in a decade or 100 years, but in the short term, the characters are still there in the specimens to look at the morphology.
Thanks. Any other question? We still have 2 minutes for questions, and then we will move to our next speaker. But in the panel discussion session, you can continue to ask Mark, Alex, or Melissa questions. Looks like we got a lot of interesting questions. Okay. So yeah, if no other question, we just take 1 minute break from now. Oh, another question. Okay, 2 questions. Okay, these 2 are the last questions. Please, the other question, we will move to the panel discussion session. So the first question from Elizabeth Fong. Have you tried the hot shot in alive flies?
Sorry, if we tried the hot shot lyophilized, was that the question?
Yeah.
I'll look at the chat.
Have you tried? Yeah, you looked at try the hot shot in alive flies. I mean the living insect.
Oh yeah, sure. So we've tried it on trap specimens or ones that have been killed from colonies. We haven't tried it on live insects. No. But, in theory, the DNA should be perfect in something which has just been killed. Yeah.
I don't know if they'll come out of the process alive.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. Next question is from Anuzu Okada. The question is, are you going to publish the extraction method soon?
Yeah, so that's part of this current project. So we're looking to start publishing our papers out of that project now. So we are looking to get that one published pretty soon. Yeah. And
also the last question, I have to say this is the last question from Kate. Did you look at any non-lab rapid PCR method like extreme PCR?
Not me. No, I haven't done that. Alex, have you got anything to say about that one?
Not really. I think the reason we've got onto the LAMP is the fact that you can buy these portable machines that are quite easy for people with no molecular experience to use. But I don't know really what's out there in terms of extreme PCR.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Alex and Mark. So we have to move to our next speaker,